Good morning. Today your job is to read the story, the Navajo, the Apache, and the Comanche, and then complete the questions. We'll also be completing the expand, combine, or reduce sentences page in my second video. As a reminder, if you are an in-person student, this packet is due this Friday, November 20th. If you are a virtual student, then this packet is due Monday, November 30th, after Thanksgiving break. All right, so let's go ahead and begin. The Navajo, the Apache, and the Comanche. For tens of thousands of years, groups of Native Americans have migrated. Some moved to follow game. Some moved because the climate changed. Some moved to find more or better land. Others were driven away by enemies. Whenever people move, they bring some things with them. They leave other things behind. The Navajo migrated from northern Canada to the southwest. In their language, they call themselves Dina, meaning the people. The Navajo language links them to their ancestors in Alaska and Canada. Perhaps the Navajo are directly related to the hunters-gatherers who lived in that land bridge called Beringia that connected Asia and North America many thousands of years ago. The Navajo who came to the southwest from Canada fought with the Pueblo, another Native American people who had lived in the southwest for thousands of years. But the Navajo also learned from the Pueblo. They learned how to survive in the harsh climate of the high desert. For example, the Navajo often used adobe to build their homes. Adobe, a type of brick made from sun-dried clay, was used by the Pueblo to build their homes. Unlike the Pueblo, they built individual domed houses in small, scattered groups. The Pueblo built villages in several different styles, including houses in cliffs. The Spanish first brought sheep to the southwest in the 1600s. As a result, raising sheep became a big part of the Navajo way of life. The Navajo became more settled. They used fleece from their sheep to spin wool and weave blankets and rugs. Still known for their weaving skills, today the Navajo make up the largest Native American nation in the United States. Like the Navajo, the Apache also migrated from northern Canada to the southwest. They traveled along the eastern side of the Rocky Mountains. Apache territory covered parts of present-day Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and northern Mexico. The Apache hunted and traded. Later, after Spanish brought horses to America, the Apache learned how to ride the new animals. Horses made it easier for the Apache to hunt and to raid rival Navajo villages, as well as to attack Spanish forts. The Comanche were the only Native Americans more powerful than the Apache. The Comanche successfully gained Apache land and pushed the Apache farther west. Because of this, the Apache finally had to make peace with their enemies, the Spaniards. They needed Spanish protection from the Comanches. On a hot summer day in the 1700s, 4 Apache chiefs and their followers met with Spanish missionaries in San Antonio, Texas. There, the Apache turned over their weapons. In a ceremony of peace, the Apache and the Europeans buried the hatchet. This meant that they agreed to stop fighting with each other. We still use the expression bury the hatchet when we agree to stop arguing with someone. Unfortunately, the hatchet wasn't really buried. Not all the Apache made peace, nor did the Europeans or their descendants leave them alone. All through the 1800s, the Apache were at war with other Native Americans and with various settlers. They fought against the Spaniards, the Mexicans, and finally the Americans. One of the most famous Apache leaders was Geronimo, who fought to save his people's land. Today, several Apache groups live in the southwestern United States. The Comanche mostly live in Oklahoma. All right, let's take a look at our questions for today. Which Native American group was more powerful than the Apache? Please go back to the story and see if you can find the answer. Pause this video. Well, on the second page of the story, it tells us which Native American group was more powerful. It says it right here. The Comanche were the only Native Americans more powerful than the Apache. So the answer is A, the Comanche. Okay. Number 2. The text describes the sequence of events that took place after the Comanche took over the Apache's land. What did the Apache do after the Comanche took over their land? Did they start to hunt, trade, and ride horses that the Spaniards brought to North America? Did they make peace with the Spaniards so that they would protect them from the Comanche? Did they move to the southwest region of North America? Or did they start to hunt and raid rival Navajo nations, as well as to attack Spanish forts? Please pause this video, see if you can find the answer to this question. All right, once again, if I go back to the text and I look, it says the Comanche successfully gained Apache land and pushed the Apache farther west. Because of this, the Apache finally had to make peace with their enemies, the Spaniards. So, if you said B, you are correct. Okay, here we go. Number 3. Read the following sentence. The Navajo, who came to the southwest from Canada, fought with the Pueblo, another Native American people who had lived in the southwest for thousands of years. But the Navajo also learned from the Pueblo. They learned how to survive in the harsh climate of the high desert. For example, the Navajo often used adobe to build their homes. Adobe, a type of brick made from sun-dried clay, was used by the Pueblo to build their homes. What can you conclude, or what idea do you have about the relationship between the Navajo and the Pueblo? So do you think that the Navajo and the Pueblo people always got along and helped each other? Did they? I don't see that. I see that they fought with them, so they didn't always get along. That word right there throws off the answer because they don't always get along. The Navajo and the Pueblo people united together to fight the Spaniards. I don't remember reading that anywhere in the sentence. That's not a choice. The Pueblo people benefited a lot from their relationship with the Navajo. Well, it doesn't say that. I think it was the Navajo that benefited from the Pueblo, but let's look at the last one. The Navajo both benefited and suffered because of the Pueblo. So they benefited because they learned how to survive in the harsh climate, right? They also suffered because they fought. So I think the answer is D. Do you agree with me? D is the correct answer. All right, our last 2 questions. Question number 4. Based on the information in the text, how can the relationship between some Native American groups and Europeans in the Southwest be described. So in other words, how could you describe the relationship between the Comanche and the Spaniards, for example? Is it a healthy relationship? So a healthy relationship would be a very good relationship. Is it very complicated? There's lots of different issues that go into it. Is it a positive relationship? Or is it a mysterious relationship? Think about it and circle your choice. Pause this video. Check back with me when you're done. If you said B, complicated, you are correct. Some days they had a good relationship, other days they had a bad relationship. Sometimes they fought with the settlers, sometimes they didn't. It was very complicated. Last question. What is the main idea of this story? So what was the main idea of the whole text? Is it that the Navajo and Apache learned many things from the Comanche, even though they often fought with each other? In the Southwest, the Navajo, Apache, and Comanche groups learned from and fought with different groups of Native Americans and settlers. Adobe homes kept the Navajo people alive in the harsh climate of the Southwest. Or, all through the 1800s, the Apache were at war with other Native Americans and with various settlers. Take a minute, think about each one of these four, and think about what was all 3 pages of our story mostly about. Pause this video, check back with me when you're done. All right, welcome back. The Navajo and Apache learned many things from the Comanche, even though they often fought with each other. So it does talk about that, but is that the main part of the text? No. Let's check the bottom one. All through the 1800s, the Apache were at war with other Native Americans and with various settlers. Once again, it does mention that, but it doesn't talk about that the entire time, so that can't be it. Adobe homes helped keep the Navajo people alive in the harsh climate of the Southwest. Well, once again, it mentions adobe homes, but the whole article isn't just about adobe homes. So that leaves this answer B. In the Southwest, the Navajo, Apache, and Comanche groups learned from and fought with different groups of Native Americans and settlers. That right there is our correct answer. It's kind of a broad overview of all 3 of those Native American groups. That's it. Have a wonderful day. My second video is going to be on expand, combine, or reduce sentences. Thanks.